Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews. Today we are discussing Squid Game Season 2. This is quite a nice, nostalgic moment for me. I remember reviewing the first season of Squid Game when it took the world by storm. I still am a small content creator, but I was a really small content creator back then. I don't even know if I'd broken 100 subscribers. And I remember texting an old school friend that I hadn't seen in ages and sending them the video with a little message of, I know you like Korean dramas, I thought you might like my review. And full credit to that person, not only did they watch the review, like the review, subscribe and share it around, they really complimented the video, and I don't know for certain, but I think they shared it around in their Korean drama communities that they follow, because I'm not exaggerating, but overnight that video blew up from about 14 views to 1,000 views. So I have nothing but endless love and praise to that person. In fact, I think it might be the first video I made that did surpass 1k views. And now here we are, 3 years later and still struggling to hit 1k views, but we'll get there. And now it's time to discuss the second season, of which I must admit I've always been skeptical about. I love that first season. I think it is a really good show. If my memory serves me correctly, I believe I gave it a 9 out of 10. And having just rewatched that first season before going into season 2, I can confirm I stand by that 9 out of 10. I think it's a really sharp, well-written, creative and colourful series that has an awful lot to say about society and explores it in such a narratively and visually gripping way. I just think it sort of jumps the shark and gets a little bit ridiculous towards the end. That's really what stopped me from giving it the full 10. I can still roll with it, it's not series breaking by any means, but it does feel like a bit of a cop-out compared to the rest of the show. And it always felt like a one and done, at least for me. This is what it has to say, and it says it quite effectively. What more can we do? Announcing season 2 just made it sound like we're going for the money, and we're probably just going to rinse and repeat everything we've already said. And to some degree, yeah, that is the case with season 2. Especially in those first 3 episodes, it did take me a minute to warm up to this season. I do appreciate the slower burn and taking the time to find the characters and where they are 2-3 years later. But having just watched that first season and it all being fresh in my mind, there's several scenes, especially in those first 3 episodes, where they are practically carbon copies of season 1. And I do mean carbon copies, which is a little bit sad, a little bit lazy, not really what I wanted from this. That is until the end of episode 3. And don't worry, nothing being said here. Suddenly just amped it right up and made this season so interesting and intriguing and had me in the palm of their hands because suddenly I had to see the next episode and know where this was going. I think the show deserves an awful lot of credit for that because that was my biggest concern, and they did manage to find a new narrative angle that was really interesting for this season. I also like the new characters. I do think some of them are fitting a bit of a archetype, if you will. We had the old man in the first season, now we have the old woman. But I really like that old woman. She's really nice. I just want to give her a cuddle and go round to her house for dinner because she's just so lovely. I really appreciated the main character's best friend because another complaint I had about this show, at least to start with, is that our main character has suddenly just turned into Batman. It's too much of a leap, and I really liked that his best friend in these games brought that character back out of him. I love their dialogue, I love their back and forth, I like the way they took the piss out of each other. It was so refreshing to see that side of our main character again because it did feel like it was lost entirely. It's almost working like a soap opera. I'm a little bit embarrassed at how invested I am into these characters and their drama. There's one lad in particular, and I'm sorry I don't remember his character name and I don't know his actor's name, so I will put his picture up. Hate him vehemently with a passion. I don't know if I'm meant to, I don't know. It's one of those where I think the script has cleverly written it where you can either really feel sorry for him or you could really hate him. He's a little bit like that dickhead from Saving Private Ryan, who I also hate. Yep, didn't like him, but you know, that's actually a compliment to the show that they have written a character so annoying that it is affecting me emotionally. I like the new games that they've introduced. They found new ways to build tension and suspense in these moments. And in the second game in particular, they've even found a way to add some humour elements as well. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, I enjoyed that one quite a lot. And again, saying nothing, but I also think that this season ends on a very interesting note. I do think some elements of this ending has jumped the shark once again, unfortunately, but I'm still able to roll with it because, credit where it's due, they did put some groundwork in and give you some backstory to characters and things that they know and are capable of. Sometimes feels a little bit convenient that they can do that specific skill they specifically need right now, but I can roll with it. It's not so far removed that it pulled me out entirely, but it did feel a tad out of left field, which ultimately brings me to my biggest complaint of this second season, and that is that it kind of feels unfinished. I see why they've done what they've done and left it on a bit of a cliffhanger for you to keep you interested and intrigued for season 3, and maybe they fear that if they did wrap it all up here that people maybe wouldn't be interested in a season 3 because, I mean, well, how many times can you do this really? But in doing it this way, it's just left this second season feeling short. It didn't feel like a cliffhanger to me. It felt like there's an episode missing. And as I said to Mrs. IMO when it finished, it feels like they've brought out a very okay soup for the starters, but brought out an incredibly delicious lamb dish for the main, and then decided to deliver a single cheap 20p choc ice for pudding. When you step away from it all and look at it, it is uneven and unbalanced, and the richness and the good stuff is all in the middle, in the heart of it. The intro is a bit slow and cold, and the pudding is a little bit underwhelming. And I personally don't think this second season holds a torch to the first. It did surprise me this season. It's a hell of a lot better than I ever expected it to be, and it has left me intrigued and interested in what happens for the next season, but I do feel a little bit shortchanged if I'm being honest with you. But still, highly entertaining and a really good continuation of the story. And I'm going to give Squid Game Season 2 an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do hit the comment section as well. Have you seen Squid Game Season 2? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you haven't had enough of this crazy ginger, we can always click on these suggested videos right here and get yourself lost in an IMO wormhole. But if not, take care. I look forward to seeing you on the next review.